Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, June 12th, 2017. Looking at the next few days, there are some impacts in the forecast, mainly for today. We will see really strong southwesterly winds this afternoon with gusts in excess of 50 miles an hour, combined with low relative humidity, and that'll be across the orange highlighted area on the screen. So that's much of eastern, southeastern, southwestern Utah and the Arizona Strip. Further north, we will see much cooler and wetter weather, with the potential for some snow levels near 6,000 feet. That's in the areas highlighted in blue on the map. So pretty interesting weather across the Great Basin today. And then as we move later into the week, we will see a return to warmer and drier weather. Not much in the way of precipitation across the Great Basin over the past 24 hours. You can just see some light precipitation accumulations across portions of the northern areas in the Great Basin. But the lightning was pretty interesting. You can see some pretty dense areas of lightning strikes across portions of Nevada, Idaho, and northern Utah. Fire activity is definitely picking up across the Great Basin. We've had 12 new fires reported, as well as 86 ongoing fires. So, we're definitely moving into fire season. Looking at precipitation over the past 7 days, kind of a hole over the Great Basin. You can see much of Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip have been missed, with some lighter precipitation further north in the area. If you look back 30 days, more across the Great Basin, but still quite dry, especially across southern Nevada. The ERCs are trending downward across the area. This is with cooler temperatures behind that cold front. You can see these downward arrows. Those are indicate that ERCs have trended downwards over the past 3 days. Looking at live fuel moisture, in many areas it's still above normal. You can see all 3 sample sites here on the page showing above normal moisture for sagebrush. The satellite this morning shows a low pressure system over the Great Basin. You can see that spinning over Nevada, and that will make its way into Utah and Idaho today. So for today, you can see again, here's that low pressure system that we saw on the satellite that is bringing the cooler and wetter weather to the north. With that cool and wet weather, we are expecting little or no risk across the northern part of the Great Basin. However, the most important areas to be aware of are further south and east across the area, where we are highlighting these areas for high risk due to wind and low relative humidity. Looking at these winds in a little more detail, you can see they are really expected to be quite strong. These are gusts in the 30s to 40s, even some isolated pockets of 50 mile an hour wind gusts across the area this afternoon. So again, really, really windy and quite dry as well. Here's a relative humidity forecast image, and you can see these areas that are highlighted are those areas expected to be below 20% this afternoon. As we move into Tuesday, that low pressure system moves off to the north and east. With that moving off, away from the area, winds will decrease, and so you can see we're not highlighting any areas for high risk tomorrow. If we look at those winds in more detail, you can see still gusty across the north and east, but relative humidities won't be very low in the areas where we're going to see those gusty winds tomorrow. This image on the right shows those forecast relative humidities for tomorrow afternoon. You can see it's really across the southern part of our area that we will see those relative humidities below 20%. Moving into Wednesday, we see drier weather continue across the area, particularly across the south. Pretty light winds on Wednesday, as you can see from this wind forecast. Nothing too significant across the Great Basin, and still quite dry, particularly across the south. So looking at the 3-day precipitation accumulation, you can really see how much of the precipitation over the next few days is focused across the northern part of our area. As we move into Thursday, the pattern looks quite similar, with dry conditions across the south, a little more moisture across the north. And as we move into Friday, not much changes. We could see some windy conditions, particularly across Idaho and northern Nevada and northern Utah, but relative humidities are expected to be pretty high on Friday. As we move into Saturday, things dry out a little bit across the north, and that trend continues into Sunday. Looking at the 7-day precipitation total, it looks a lot like the 3-day precipitation total, which tells us that really after the next 3 days, not much is expected as far as precipitation across the Great Basin. Finally, looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, they are calling for above average temperatures across really the entire western United States and below normal precipitation across the northern part of the Great Basin. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.